Someone is not happy.
Oh dear.
Okay, well, we watched Live a Little, Love a Little. Would you like to start?
It was dreadful. You needed to be on drugs just to get through it.
Elvis plays Greg Nolan. He is a news photographer.
And that's about all to the story because nothing else made sense.
They should have named it Elvis in Wonderland. Straight up, it's a terrible movie.
Straight up.
I didn't think the same thing.
Oh my goodness.
I find it kind of interesting. It's interesting in the sense that it's a 1960s movie. It's almost 1970 movie, in that sense. It's right on the cusp. It had a feel of kind of like a Woody Allen type film. It had a bit of a feel of a foreign film. It's a very odd film for an Elvis film.
And what's the story?
Hang on. So the first, if you remember back in the very early reviews, we were saying that an Elvis film hadn't really showed up yet. It was Elvis in movies, but there wasn't an Elvis film. And the first 4 films really, before he goes into the military, are unlike all the rest. And now we're in the last 4 movies, and interestingly, we're going to find that these are all unlike the other films. These are definitely dealing with more mature themes. The girl is super sexual, even though she's also kind of crazy. At one point, she gives him a pill for his headache because he's burning up, but then he trips for 4 days and has this whacked out dream. So, I mean, this is not a normal Elvis film in that sense. There is a little bit of the sense like he literally is Alice in Wonderland and goes down the rabbit hole and look at, she's just letting me talk and losing it. But there is a little bit. It's kind of trippy and it's not good as a normal film, but it's definitely very interesting and see Elvis in a more, I don't know, it's just more mature. It's more mature. It's also whacked out. So
I think mature is not the right word.
Just, I mean, adult themes, not mature, just adult
Yeah,
themes.
it's not mature.
I mean, these things, the stuff that goes on here, you wouldn't see in previous Elvis films. So I'm not trying to send you there like, hey, it's just a 1960 interesting film in that sense. And I would probably say I'm only liking it because of my film history background. But had a couple of great musical numbers. She stared at me the entire time while I sang and danced in my chair.
It did have a couple good songs.
Yeah. Let's see if we can try and recap it again real quick. He meets this girl on the beach, and she is a really super free spirit kind of girl, whacked out. She has multiple personalities. She just says, whatever I feel today, I have a new personality.
And a different name.
Different names, yeah.
Depending on who came into her house freely.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's kind of touching on, again, the mod scene and the free love scene and a little bit of the drug scene. But it's a lighthearted romp type of thing. But the entire time, Elvis is completely as confused as we are as to what the heck is going on. And it just, some interesting things happen in the film. And so she makes him lose his job. And so she kind of like a weird stalker. Takes over his life, moves all of his stuff in, and he gets fired from the one job, so he has to go out and get a new job, and he ends up basically as a Playboy photographer. And he's doing all he can to make money to pay her back and get her out of his life, at the same time falling in love with her. And there's I don't know, it's crazy. So, anything else you want to say? Would you like to say anything besides it's horrible?
What was the story about? I mean, what was the...
He was basically tripping. She drugged him. I almost was expecting at the end of the movie
he was drugged the whole time.
Yeah, I was almost expecting he'd wake up on the couch going, "Oh my God, what just happened?" And it was all a dream.
Yeah. It was, yeah. Okay.
Again, nonsensical, but I don't know. Elvis was doing his thing. I really think
take a nap during
I think they were playing with the art form like a lot of movies were in the '60s. So it falls out of the normal Elvis movie, and they were trying to make an art film.
Okay.
And I think that's what they were working on. I don't think they were very successful at it back then, and I don't know what people would think today. I just find it. I didn't find it horrible. I find it just sort of like I was kept waiting to know what the point was.
Well, I can't wait for your rating.
Let's get to it. What would you like to rate it?
Oh dear.
Oh my Lord. Having stomach pains? Any day?
Well, 2.
Why?
Well, I did like a couple songs in
She
it.
looks miserable.
Well, I struggle with this because I did like a couple songs in it. He looked good.
Mm-hmm.
He dressed in his suits. He was screaming, and but the story I couldn't.
Just think about Alice in Wonderland. It goes down to the rabbit hole, and nothing makes a lot of sense. And
that's why I give it a 2. It's still better than Harem Scarum because I couldn't even. Yeah, that was just horrible.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to give it a 2 as well. I was thinking...
What?
Yeah. I was considering a 3 only because of the art filmness of it all, but it's not really. It's not a good film. It's just an interesting film. And so, in the end, it's really a 2.
Wow.
So we'll give it a solid 2 in that sense. The next thing we're going to do is we're following his career. And so I'm going to throw in the other big moments in his life. And so the next thing he does is the 1968 special called Elvis. We now know it as the Elvis Comeback Special, but it wasn't known that way for, years later when people interpreted it that way. Elvis, I'm imagining that Elvis was reacting to the fact like Dean Martin had a TV show that was pretty successful, and then Tom Jones had a TV show. They're all around the same time. And it was interesting that he never made any appearances on those things, and I bet it was because Tom Parker controlled all that. But Elvis's movie career was starting, was lagging, and his pay was going down. So Tom Parker was trying to make a deal to get the next couple movies financed. He had a contract to make them, but not money to make them. And so to get that done, he ended up selling a TV special to the network, and they paid for the next set of movies, I believe. And Tom Parker was trying to go for a Christmas, like Elvis would sing Christmas songs. But a producer on the set had a different idea, and it turned into one of his most remarkable pieces of work. So we're going to watch that and review that, and then we'll move back onto the movies. The next movie will be Charo, and we'll get to that, which is an interesting Western with no singing in it. There's a little bit of a story for that one as well. But
Yikes.
The 1968 special will be next. And this movie kind of, you can see the look he has there and some of the song styling he's going to do. It's very connected, and I'm kind of excited to see it again. So you look excited too. So anyway, we're going to check that out, and then we'll be back to you. See you later. Some mushroom. Because we're drugged. Bye.
See ya.